My rich neighbors tortured people for fun until I made them face their worst nightmare. The Ashford twins were trust fund parasites who treated human suffering like a spectator sport, paying homeless folks to fight each other while they filmed it on their phones, betting on who could make service workers cry first, basically using their inheritance to cosplay as sociopaths. I first encountered them when I was dropping off sandwiches to my buddy Kevin, a Vietnam vet with PTSD who lived under the overpass, and found the twins had paid him $50 to eat dog food while they filmed him gagging and crying. I called the cops immediately, but money talks louder than justice in my neighborhood, so the officers just gave the boys a warning while they smirked at me like I was the one causing problems. That's when the twins decided I was their new favorite toy, starting with petty harassment like noise complaints at 3 a.m. when I was dead asleep, having my perfectly legally parked car towed from my own driveway, claiming it was abandoned, spreading rumors I was running a meth lab, which had neighbors giving me suspicious looks at the mailbox. Things went from petty to psychotic when they left dead rats on my doorstep with notes saying, "Snitches get stitches," like they learned intimidation from a direct-to-DVD movie. I kept calling the cops, but they'd grown tired of my complaints, one officer actually suggesting maybe I should just move if I couldn't handle boys being boys, as if terrorizing working people was just a phase rich kids go through, but something stopped me from moving. Through my postal worker friend, I learned the twins had a running bet worth 10 grand on whether they could force me to move within 6 months, both treating my life like a poker chip. When I finally confronted one of them, trying to appeal to whatever humanity might be hiding under that designer hoodie, he laughed so hard he snorted and offered me $2,000 to move immediately so he could win the bet, saying, "Come on, man, that's probably more than you make in a month anyway. I'm doing you a favor." That's when a switch flipped in me from law-abiding citizen to time to teach these trust fund terrorists a lesson. I started studying them like they were my new hobby, befriending their housekeeper Alba, who was sick of their abuse too, learning they got massive monthly allowances but with strict conditions. No arrests, no public embarrassment, and definitely no drug scandals. Turns out the twins had more powder going up their noses than a ski resort. They hosted ragers at a separate party house they bought to trash, dealing to half the rich kids in town while acting untouchable. Alba told me grandma controlled the real money, an old school matriarch who built the fortune they were pissing away, and she had zero tolerance for anything that might tarnish the family name she'd spent 60 years polishing. I also discovered the party house neighbors despised them even more than I did. The plan involved creating an anonymous dossier with screenshots from their hobo fighting videos, showing them laughing at victims, time-stamped photos of Dareg deals, and testimonials from terrorized neighbors, including an elderly veteran whose mailbox they regularly destroyed. I made sure grandma got her package right before her weekly church group meeting, knowing those judgmental ladies would ensure she couldn't sweep this under any rug. The twins threw their usual Friday rager, unaware that half the neighborhood was recording every violation, every drug deal, every underage kid stumbling out, creating evidence so overwhelming even their daddy's lawyers would sweat. I timed the police tip for peak chaos, right when their dealer arrived with enough product to stock a pharmacy. When the police showed up, neighbors who'd been documenting everything were flooding out to give statements about ongoing criminal activity, creating a scene that looked like a community uprising against crime. The cops couldn't ignore 20 taxpayers all pointing at the same house, especially when they found the twins red-handed with enough drugs to hit them with distribution charges. Within 72 hours, their world crumbled. Grandma cut them off completely, their parents disowned them, and their trust funds vanished. The brothers got probation and community service, but the real punishment came when grandma demanded they get jobs to prove they'd changed. No family money until they showed a year of honest work, which for two kids who'd never even made their own beds was basically a life sentence. 6 months later, I heard through the grapevine they were working at a fast food joint by the highway, the kind of place they used to mock, wearing paper hats and polyester uniforms that probably itched like they were stuffed with insulation. I couldn't resist driving over there, ordering a complicated meal with multiple modifications just to watch them squirm. They recognized me instantly, but had to serve me anyway with smiles as fake as their apologies to the judge.